Pain can really mess with your head. I work with a lot of patients who deal with chronic pain that's been around for months, years, or decades. And something that is very, very common amongst every single patient that I've ever had over the last 5 years is this concept right here. Internal reality versus external reality. And these two do not equal each other ever. Now, what I mean by that is that when people feel pain, their internal thoughts about what their body is doing and what position it's in or how it's feeling is very different from the external reality or how other people like myself see their bodies. For example, I'll have a patient who's sitting down on the table, and when I tell them to lean back a little bit, they believe that they're leaning like way back and like their head's gonna go through the wall behind them, even though they're actually sitting perfectly straight and upright. That difference in perception is a compensation adjustment to your pain, because your pain will impact how your body functions and what position it's in and what it's doing. Which is why, again, the internal reality for someone does not match the external reality. Again, what I see, especially in the beginning of a journey that a patient may have, what I see will always be different from what they feel. And the goal is to get them to feel what I see, to have better control of their body and to know what their body is doing. And that is how you actually also get better. Because it's not that you have to always be upright, but it's the awareness of how to control your body through different positions. That is the most important thing that we learn in the very beginning. And now look, so this is actually the typical cycle of what happens, right? So pain happens, which transfers over to an altered reality, right? Pain makes us function different, but it also makes us feel internally different, right? So altered reality, altered function, right next to each other. And then this usually leads to a loss of self, right? Over time, people will no longer be able to be aware of what their body position actually is doing. Like, you won't know if you're actually upright or leaning forward. I'll have someone stand and I'll say, hey, lean back into your heels a bit, and they'll be like, whoa, I didn't even realize. Like, they're standing in their toes, like Michael Jackson. They don't even realize that they're doing that because they don't feel it. Their body is disconnected because of the pain. And so what I try to do is reconnect their body to their nervous system and their brain to reestablish that connection for them to understand more about their body and what it is doing to control it. And we must break this cycle. Now look, you can take care of pain, but if you don't change the altered reality, the altered function, and the loss of self, people will not get better. This is so important to understand, and this is what clinicians, what physical therapists, chiropractors, everybody, this is what people miss the freaking most. They try to target the physical aspect of things, but they don't work on the mental game. They don't work on what is actually happening here. What is the wiring inside the head doing to the rest of the body? And you have to combine the two, otherwise none of this works. None of this works. That's why I always talk about mixing physical pain and understanding the emotional and mental side effects of pain and bringing those two together to actually get relief.